Communication coming in, too much that I can't communicate with all of them. I do wish I had scientists or engineer friends. Let's go. Get out.
A bitch can't do it like me. 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 This is being described as a global IT outage. Airports, banks, media companies like the one I work for at ABC 7 News in San Francisco have all had network disruptions. And these companies impacted not just in the States, but around the globe. Hospital workers across the country tell me their systems were impacted. Hotel workers say the same. 911 systems in certain cities have been impacted. And as I report all of this, it's just after 5 a.m. on the East Coast, just after 2 a.m. on the West Coast. The company CrowdStrike, a U.S. cybersecurity company, has admitted to being responsible for the error and are working to fix it. CrowdStrike is based out of Austin, Texas. The FAA said at one point air traffic controllers had to tell airborne pilots that airlines are currently experiencing communication issues. That is why flights were grounded at one point. American Airlines says this is a problem with CrowdStrike and they are working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible.
Excuse me. All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
So did you experience this timeline jump that we had this weekend? I thought I was crazy. I thought that it felt funny. There was something off. But when they announced Dr. Ruth and Richard Simmons just died this weekend, I knew something was up. Put it out there. A lot of people feel this way. So I believe, and this is just my belief, I believe that what happened, the attempt assassination of T, I think that we chose a more positive path. I think that there were two ways. I think that on the other side, it didn't happen the way that we're living right now. I think instinctively, we chose a different path. And I do believe that it is positive. I do believe that there's a lot of us have witnessed it. A lot of us just know in our heart of hearts that this is it. But this is perfect because we know our birth date. We know when we came here.
Okay, so the government had to have dropped the ball, or the world leaders, because people are saying that CERN messed up the timeline. They definitely did. Richard Simmons been unalived, y'all. Richard Simmons died years ago from a wardrobe malfunction shooting a video. I will never forget this. So since that is the case, this is what I think has happened. Just like Donnie Darko, picture a rubber band is the tangent universe. Okay, so the tangent universe is the rubber band completely stretched out. Over time, as it's shrinking, this is symbolic of letting go of the rubber band and allowing it to snap back into reality, hyperlinking back into its timeline. The problem with the snap is if you don't fix what you need to fix in that tangent universe before time runs out and you snap back into your reality, well, you snap back all of the damage you did and you destroy your universe as well. Now, what I think we're accidentally doing is we've arrived at the tip of the spear. So we're breaching the pinnacle of
Gratitude, family. This is your brother Yosef. And I would like to invite you to my new lecture titled Cyber Sorcery. This is going to be a great event, family. We're going to talk about cyber sorcery. We're going to talk about how you can do some spiritual things with technology, family. Come on down. There's going to be some great information. The event will take place at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, October 11th at 1 p.m. Central in Houston, Texas. All right. The address is 5309 Martin Luther King Boulevard, Houston, Texas, family. All right. Now we're also going to have a special guest, Brother Divine Waters. All right. Who's going to be dropping some information on healing. All right. Get your tickets today, family, at newlifetools.org.
Always mention doors, but never what's behind them.
It's like thinking about what's behind the door. So, like, you know what I'm saying? When I'm in the room, it's like, damn, it's another room. So I just keep going in a different room. So one of them times I open the door, I'm going to be afraid.
Yeah. You never had access to that sort of information.
I call it the room with the door behind it. You never get to that door. We always got through the first door, and we were so excited about being in that room that we never looked at the next door, right?
It's a level of success where it's a door. When you platinum and you're getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you can walk in. But I was offered these doors. I just chose to go straight. And I haven't been platinum since.
There's a curtain, there's another room, and there's a curtain. And in that room is some shit. You're like, God damn, I didn't know y'all doing this back here.
You guys recognize Jim here? He hints towards what happens behind these doors.
You know, let me tell you something about celebrities. And let me tell you something about some big sports stars. If you honestly knew what some of your favorite big superstars really did behind closed doors, if you really knew what your favorite radio star, TV star, newscaster truly did behind closed doors, none of us are perfect. We all do weird things. We're all freaky and weird and crazy. But if you knew, you wouldn't follow half the people. You wouldn't listen.
Trump is Israel's guy.
Yep.
So is J.D. Vance. And therefore, you've got two people potentially in the White House who are going to give Israel everything they want. And the only thing that Trump didn't give them in his first presidency was a full-blown invasion of Iran. This guy, his name actually is Matthew Brooks. He's the CEO of the Republican Coalition. Well, he said it all, really.
Yeah, he did.
Hello, Milwaukee! Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Now, if someone tried that at the Democrats' convention, they'd be booed off the stage. But here, at the Republican convention, we proudly and loudly stand with Israel. This election is a critical moment for the American Jewish community and for Israel. This is our chance to continue the incredible pro-Israel legacy of the most pro-Israel president in history, Donald J. Trump. President Trump, among his many accomplishments, many of which they said couldn't be done, but he did it. He moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. They said it couldn't be done, but he weakened the Iranian regime. They said it couldn't be done, but he delivered the historic Abraham Accords, bringing us closer to peace in the Middle East. With President Trump, we will repair and rebuild the U.S.-Israel relationship that has deteriorated after 4 disastrous years under President Biden. Now, today, 9 months after the historic Hamas attacks, shockingly, President Biden is still withholding critical arms that Israel needs to defend itself. Boo. America must stand with Israel and against the terrorists, especially Iran. We must stand with the Israeli people. Now, my message here today to the Jewish community is clear. There is only one pro-Israel party, and it's the Republican Party. And here at home, under Donald Trump, we will put a stop to the rising tide of anti-Semitism. President Trump will bring back law and order so that American Jews can once again wear a kippah and walk the streets without fear. President Trump will stop the mobs on the college campuses so Jewish students feel safe when they go to class. The Jewish community is ready to help elect Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. The Jewish vote continues to increase for Republicans year after year, and I promise you 2024 will be no different. So let me ask all of you, who will best stand up to the Hamas sympathizers and the squad? Donald Trump! Who will best stand with Israel? Donald Trump! Who will make sure Jews feel safe and secure? Thank you, RNC, for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you, President Trump, for your commitment to elevating Jewish American voices.
I mean, in what country do you go out and give a political speech at a rally to that country and just talk about...
There will be a movement driven by big corporations to take the soul away from people, to disconnect people from the higher world. And in order to do that, we have to destroy the pineal gland in people. And I followed the research on that, and amazingly what we found, the pineal gland is the most sensitive part of our central nervous system. and is highly, highly, highly sensitive to four things: aluminum, glyphosate, fluoride, and Wi-Fi. And we are the only country in the world that has pushed these four things in the last 60 years or so on everybody growing up here. There must have been an ultra-intelligence group of scientists who have designed this protocol to fluoridate the drinking water, to put nanoniced aluminum in the air, to put glyphosate in the food, and then activate it, spark it with the right frequencies.
So many people are not paying attention to time, and they're being robbed of their years through the sedative of pleasure. When fun is your focus and an obsession with entertainment causes you to discard responsibility, your endorphins and carnal nature will cause you to be oblivious to the reality of the shortness of seasons. If you're not careful, you will look up and have wasted years being involved in pointless activities, toxic relationships, and irrelevant practices that heist time from you. Understand, there's nothing wrong with creating joyous moments, having exciting participations, or engaging in delightful indulgences within the confines of integrity. But when that's the only thing you're focused on and it becomes priority over purpose, it's only a matter of time before you are in deep regret, a midlife crisis, or you're saying things like, where did the time go? This is what I know for sure. Maturity is not always an organic evolution. Sometimes it really is just making a conscious, intentional decision to choose the fulfillment of destiny over the gratification of the flesh. A young man that I was mentoring told me, man, it's so hard to focus on my purpose because I love these women. I said, boy, you better learn how to pick purpose over.
100 years of age. I'm starting on my second 100 years. I've been a vegetarian all my life. If we live the right lifestyle, we won't get these heart attacks and the strokes. We could lower heart attack risk 80%, the first stroke risk 80%, diabetes risk 88% by lifestyle without any pills. The major cause of disease and death is cardiovascular disease that can be prevented with proper lifestyle without any medicine. But now the question of cutting down on meat, that irritated the American public. They didn't like that. They liked their meat. So what we're going to do about that, the Heart Association changed the recommendation. Eat more fruits and vegetables. But really they meant eat less meat. So they had another recommendation. Don't eat more than 5 to 6% of your calories as saturated fat. Now let me tell you the secret. That means vegetarian diet. That's the animal fat. The dairy fat, if you're going to use milk, get rid of the pork fat, the lard, and that sort of thing. See, animal fat is a big problem. Now they added to this hypertension, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. The vegetarian diet is an optimum diet.
Day in and day out, I get asked this question. What tribe are you from? Are you from Judah? Are you from Ham? Are you from Shem? Are you from this and that? So let's talk about it. For starters, most Jewish people do not know what tribe they come from because we don't keep track with that. That's like a super outdated thing. We just base everything off of our different diasporas. So if you come up to a Jewish person and ask them what tribe they're from, it's really going to throw them off because that's not something we really go by anymore. And then when you ask about the Ham and Shem and all that stuff, Ashkenaz, no. I had somebody in my comments ask me if I was from the Ashkenazi tribe or the Judah tribe. That's not really how it works. But we do have Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and Mizrahi. Though I will not discount that there definitely are some ethnic groups that were not of Jewish descent that later transitioned to the religion. All in all, the majority of Jewish people derive from the Levantine region. First up, we'll cover the Ashkenazi Jews. These are the Jews that left the Middle East during the Middle Ages from around the 1400s to 1700s, and they came to Central Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Northern Europe. Then we have the Sephardics. These are the Jews that arrived in Spain and Portugal. And the third popular group that is mainly mentioned is Mizrahi. In Hebrew, Mitzrayim means Egypt. But Mizrahi is just referring to Jewish people that diaspored into other Middle Eastern countries. So Yemen, Iraq, Iran, places like that. But yeah, that's how we do it. We don't go by tribes. That's not what we do. I can guarantee you a Jewish person does not know if they are from Shem, Ham, Ashkenaz. We don't do that. We don't go by that. Oh yeah, sorry, one more thing. There are smaller sections of diaspora that are less well known. Obviously the Ethiopians we consider the lost tribe. I don't know what their name would be in terms of how we have Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and Mizrahi. There's probably something else I don't know. But the three most popular groups are Sephardic, Ashkenazi, and Mizrahi. There's also like subgroups of like Indian Jews and Asian Jews and stuff like that, but they're just less well known.
Amethyst in water. Now, amethyst has a quality that it radiates a frequency that's very close to our mind when we're sleeping. It's called alpha waves. You know the feeling just before you fall asleep and just before you wake up? It's the same wavelength that amethyst puts out. So if you take a stone, a specific amethyst, put it in the sunlight during the day so it absorbs into it the ions which actually make the heartbeat work, and then you put it in water and leave it there for a few hours. Before you go to sleep, have a sip and see how you feel, because you can actually use a frequency for self-healing.
The day's over! Now it's morning and night again! This is crazy! Time is accelerating even more!
I don't understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. And I mean, it's such a simple question, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? And who are we actually paying for the privilege of being alive here? Who made them the boss? Who put them in charge? You know? Think about that.
Do me a favor and watch this video. So I wanted to show this to you because a lot of the time when you're arguing with someone online, you are arguing with guys like this who run commenting farms that literally exist to make you miserable. Because at this point, commenting farms like you just saw on screen are confirmed to exist in Russia, in China, all for the purpose of destroying the Western psyche. Even giant Twitter accounts like Radio Genoa. These accounts only exist for you to start to begin to hate Western society by only posting content that makes you feel like everything around you is burning to the ground. So do me a favor, unplug from the internet for a while. And that includes my own content. Commit to yourself right now that you're gonna take a week off of social media and go outside and touch some grass. It's the summertime, it's beautiful. And I promise you at the end of that week, you will think to yourself, holy shit, maybe I should continue to limit the amount of time that I'm online. And once you start to do that, you, my friend, will begin to really start living once again.
Pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walking down the whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pull on him.
Avoid the company of people who talk or gossip too much. Yeah. And because this tendency, these habits of people who are themselves disturbed in their mind, they can't help it. And they'll come to you to unload, unburden on you. But even if you feel you are helping them by listening, they cannot get rid of this burden. They'll just go to someone else and keep unburdening themselves like this. So don't be so quick to believe what the people say. Like I say, when people speak, don't just believe everything people say, especially about the world. They're not telling you what is truth about the world. They're only showing you what is inside their mind. So you stay in the neutrality of your own natural being.
Your entire culture is mine. You get summer vibes next. Your accent is mine.
You know how hard it is to be around stupid people? To hear the conversation and dialogue of stupid people, how they rationalize information in the dumbest way, how they draw conclusions and then go find other dumb people to agree with them. You can't tell me that that don't piss you off. My therapist, Erica Little, she's in Fort Worth, Texas, if you want to look her up, told me that highly intelligent people suffer from a mild form of depression because they daily have to quantify the stupidity of others. This woman of God don't even know how heavy that statement was. Do you know how mentally exhausting it is to be around stupid people? And then you got to interact with them at work. I would love for you to give your testimony about how you had to deal with a dumb individual in the comment section.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
My words create my world, and my world is so bright. So as I speak, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. Fiat Lux.
Wait. Babe, stop cussing. Wait, she's not moving at all.
That's what I'm saying. What is going on?
What is she looking at?
What is she doing?
That's actually really concerning.
Very creepy. I don't know what's going on. You know, I've seen a lot of TikToks with like glitches in the Matrix, but this gotta be top dog for me.
Oh my god.
No, seriously, this is a glitch. Like, no one is standing that perfect with their legs crossed. I'm just being
Look at this guy.
I want to see if he see. Look at him. Look. Is no one noticing this? Look, is no one seeing this? What is going? Look, even
that's crazy.
No, she's looking. Look.
What?
I don't think I've ever been so happy.
Have you heard the news? Plant-based meats are now considered UPFs. Here's why.
An ultra-processed food is an industrially formulated edible substance derived from natural foods or synthesized from other organic compounds. The resulting products are designed to be highly profitable, convenient, and hyper-palatable, often through food additives such as preservatives, colorings, and flavorings. They are not made with health in mind and have replaced the traditional veggie burgers with these food-like substances. And Impossible meats are bioengineered to boot, so if you're going vegan to get healthy, this ain't it. Many of your favorite vegan restaurants, fast food joints, and high-end restaurants are serving you this stuff with a smile.
There's a better way. Drop the word meat from my beef recipe.
I think Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away. It will be much better not to kill them, just to go back to Arab countries.
But it's really rightfully ours if you look at the history and at, like, the wars, and we didn't even start a lot of the wars. And we conquered these places rightfully, like it's ours.
1,400 years later, we come back. Now, I'm not saying that we can blame the people living here for what happened, but you gotta accept that that's some kind of divine justice, that their great-great-great-great-grandfathers kicked my great-great-great-grandfather out of here, and then we come back, and all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we don't want it, it's not fair.
I think that the Jews came here, they took this land, and this is our land now, and I don't think there should be here no Arabs. like Arabs, they want, we gave them Gaza, they should go live there quietly. If they want, they should go back to Iraq, I don't know, to wherever they want.
I'm think that we need to... איך אומרים לאיש לערבי? כן, כן, תגידי לי את המילה הזאת.
I don't think there's any answer to it. Really? There's only one way, like, I would carpet bomb them.
You would carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it. Like, or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
I think that we're miserable. The Arabs make a פיגועים and we need to kill Arabs. No.
I think another thing that the Jews should have rights to hate them. I think we have the right to hate them. I don't see a reason why not. I wouldn't trust any of them.
אין מצב שיהיה פה שלום בארץ, אי אפשר לעשות איתם שלום, הם תמיד שונאים אותנו. אם אי אפשר לעשות שלום והמצב ככה לא יכול להישאר, אז צריך לטפל בהם בדרכים אחרות, אין מה לעשות.
I think we should give them a country. If you're doing any problem, you just go in there to give them a country, and then it's going to be a war between countries, you know? If they're going to throw rockets, we're going to throw one big one and done.
Languages are fairly new. When you're dealing with Egypt and going on back to Atlantis, which is now we have enough documents on it, when you're dealing with that, what you find out is that at one time we didn't speak. It was a telepathy. We're not talking about no bull-jive sign languages or some primitive man. We spoke on a clairvoyance and a high mental telepathy where you didn't have to speak. So when you see and so this is one of the keys, you will see some languages, like the Hebrew languages is a complete language, as well as the Greek language, because it has vowels. When you see the languages without this non-vowel, that means that language was more advanced than the ones with vowels, because the vowels were needed when you totally shut down your psychic ability and you needed to rely totally on speech. So therefore you needed vowels. But the other languages is when you was borderline in between using the speech and telepathy, so you didn't need vowels for everything. So you have the Egyptian thing with no vowels and certain cuneiform or Sumerian things with no vowels, and also this particular language called the Enochian language, which is the earliest Hebrew language with no vowels. You see, because the vowels are more advanced than, the consonants are more advanced where they didn't have vowels. And that's because we didn't speak at that particular part.
Sometimes people wonder, well, how do you go from this big fleet to actually monetizing the fleet in an autonomous situation? And it's actually a combination of it's like Airbnb and Uber to some degree. So there'll be some cars that Tesla owns itself, it's kind of like an Uber fashion. But then for the fleet that is owned by our customers, it will be like an Airbnb thing. You can add or subtract your car to the fleet whenever you want. So you can say, I'm going away for a week. At just one tap on your Tesla app, your car gets added to the fleet, and it just makes money for you while you're gone. Yeah. So you can say you can add it to the fleet for a few hours, for a few days, for a few weeks. Whenever you want it back, you can say come back, and the car will come right back. And I'm highly confident that it will far exceed the value, the revenue made by the owner of the car will far exceed the actual monthly payment. And then Tesla will obviously take a rev share on that, but most of the money will go to the owner of the car. And this is actually going to work. This is what will happen. So mark my words, this is simply a matter of time.
The most psychic zodiac sign, okay? I know what you're all thinking probably, that it's Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio, one of the water signs, because that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because they're emotional, they're feeling, and they get into things, and they examine them and analyze them to death and do everything else with them. But the one you're going to be surprised about today, and I know I always use that word surprise, you're getting tired of hearing about it, getting tired of saying it. But the one that is the most is Taurus, okay? I know a lot of psychics, and I tell you, there's so many Taurus people that are psychics, and it's just that they have this practical way about dealing with things, and they allow the gifts of psychic to come through because they want them, okay? It's not just a natural feeling. Psychic we are all psychic to some degree. We are. We all have psychic ability. So Taurus wins the prize today. I'm Carol Starr, bringing astrology down to earth. And always check out on my website. And if you want to order a reading, I'm here to help you.
This right here is my favorite thing ever in the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
Let go the sickness, the problem, the emotional, you let it go. So, let go, let go, let go. Go all your stress, your tension, your sickness. So 1 or 3 minutes to 5 minutes is very good. When you reach the time, you put your hand down. Inhale, exhale, and feel tingling energy. And you can breathing into your finger. Inhale, exhale. You learn how to let go the negative. If you let go your negative to other people, you only make the situation more worse, and the people will take your garbage and dump back to you. It will accumulate negative emotional every day. So in the morning you do it, in the evening before you go to sleep, do it, and you're going to sleep very well.
We are in control because basically we are not a political organization, we are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind. And we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. And what we're waging is a cultural war right now on every front, in music, in literature, utilizing the media against itself. And we're using music because that's the instrument that young people respond to right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf in man. Politics is nearly the puppet show of human beings, and we transcend that, but we are interested in the control of human beings for our own purposes. We have no concern for the homeless, particularly. We don't have any concern in helping people. As Adolf Hitler said, we seek to bring about a youth that has closed its heart to pity. All of the humanist values that Judeo-Christianity has encouraged, we want to wipe them out. It's led to democracy, social humanism, the idea of equality. All of this filth has to be wiped out if the human race is going to continue to take the next step in evolution. We are moving into a much more elitist direction.
Now, word on the BBL is that Aubrey, and I told y'all Aubrey is a white woman, okay, then staged that little shootout at his little mansion, okay. It been a whole lot going on with this white woman. She went to her manager, the record label got involved and told Kendrick that they wanted to call for a ceasefire because he was sending too much heat. Okay. They said, got on a Zoom meeting, and they said he need to quit dropping all these records because it's messing up Aubrey money. Okay. They said, stop saying that Aubrey likes his women at around the no voter age. They said, stop saying that. It's costing him money and sponsorships. Now, they said that he done sold his property. They said that white woman done sold his property in America and sent his son off to the Croissant Nation. And he flew the coop back to the ginger ale play Canada Dry. Yeah, that's what they say.
Footage shows a Ukrainian soldier with Down syndrome named Vokarov nearly causing the entire squad to perish due to a mortar operation mishap. According to Ukrainian media, Ukraine is currently facing shortages not only in ammunition but also in qualified personnel. The video reveals that Vokarov, under the taunting of veteran soldiers, was instructed to operate a mortar. Unfortunately, he loaded the shell incorrectly, almost leading to a catastrophe. Afterward, unaware of his mistake, Vokarov was verbally and physically abused by the veterans, leaving him terrified and crying in the trench. War is brutal, and even for able-bodied soldiers, the survival rate on the front lines is low. For someone like Vokarov, who has Down syndrome, escaping a tragic fate is even more unlikely. Sent to the front lines despite being unable to care for himself, Vokarov stands little chance of participating in combat and risks becoming cannon fodder. Rumors suggest that his comrades even considered using Vokarov to attract Russian drones, and one Ukrainian veteran reportedly wanted him to test for landmines. Vokarov's case has brought public attention and concern to the treatment of vulnerable soldiers within the Ukrainian military. Some Ukrainians hope that Russian forces will capture Vokarov, believing it might save him from further suffering.
You can look at Joe Biden and Donald Trump is a perfect example. Who are their two top donors? Joe Biden's top donor is Haim Saban. Donald Trump's top donor is Sheldon Adelson. Haim Saban says, I'm a one-issue guy, and my issue is Israel. Haim Saban is a Hollywood billionaire mogul with Israeli roots. Sheldon Adelson is dead, and his Israeli wife has taken over his foundation. Sheldon Adelson said he regretted joining the U.S. military and wished he could have fought for the Israeli military, and said that he had hoped to see a nuclear weapon dropped on Iran. He is the top donor to Trump, to figures like Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, all of these neoconservative pro-war Republicans. And Haim Saban and Sheldon Adelson's foundation work together through something called the IAC, the Israel-American Committee, which supplements AIPAC as a bastion of bipartisan, pro-settler colonial Israeli influence, not just on Capitol Hill, but in state houses across the U.S.
OV-ho, then step this way, step that way, then step this way, step that way.
Goods that are deemed dangerous are tightly controlled. If you want to buy a knife in this cutlery shop, for example, the purchase is tied to your ID, as this salesman demonstrates.
这个二维码是这个二维码编号，然后直接雕刻能激光刻上就可以了。就是一个身份证画面上面，然后一读卡，这个身份证照片、身份证号码，然后民族、家庭住址都有了，然后生成一个二维码。
Totally awesome or totally frightening. Look at this. China's military has released this video of a four-legged robot marching through a field with an automatic rifle mounted on its back. The Chinese state broadcaster calls it the newest member of China's urban combat operations. The robot dogs are programmed to conduct reconnaissance, identify the enemy, and strike the target. If that thing comes around the corner and if you're on the other side, you're done.
Yeah, over.
Remember how a while back, Google was sued for using their Google streetcars to suck up everybody's Wi-Fi SSIDs? And we all agreed that that was a bad thing? Well, Apple's been doing the same thing, if a bit worse. Apple has opted everyone in the world into their location data tracking network. Even if you don't have any Apple devices. Even if an Apple device has never connected to your network. All it takes is one Apple device seeing your Wi-Fi, and now your Wi-Fi is part of their data collection. Researchers believe that Apple's APIs can very easily be used to track individuals' movements, and they've already been able to demonstrate the ability to track troop and refugee movement in Ukraine. If you would like your Wi-Fi to not be tracked by Apple like this, you need to regularly change your SSID when you do things like use your phone's hotspot mode, and for your home Wi-Fi you can add the text _no map to the end of your SSID. So of course it's on users to even know this is an issue, and we have to take steps to change our network settings to fix it. That's pretty lame, Apple. That's pretty lame.
So what can you show us that as a demonstration of what you can now do?
Here we go. This is the Link app. This is how I control everything. This is the app that they've uploaded onto my computer that lets me control the cursor. This is my devotional that I've been reading all the time, every day. And then this is me playing chess.
So wait a minute. You're moving the cursor. You're moving the cursor, Nolan, just by thinking about where you want it to go, or is it your eyes?
No, it's just me thinking about wherever I want it to go.
Oh man! So
Yeah,
you're not
so-
even tracing it with your eyes. You're just looking at it.
Nope, I can move it and I can move the cursor around, whatever I would like to do. I don't have to be staring at it at all. I mean, it's amazing. There's not even words to describe. Yeah, there's not even words to describe how amazing this tech is.
So if you're new to everything that's been happening in Atlanta and across the United States recently, let me break it down for you in 1 minute. So at the root of it are these cop cities and the cop city development proposed in Atlanta, which is a militarized training center for police to train in urban warfare. You're hearing a lot about cop city right now because the same tactics that these police are using on student protesters are the same tactics that cops are learning in these cop cities across the nation. In addition, cop city mirrors what Israel created and dubbed a mini Gaza, which is used for IDF soldiers to train to learn how to more effectively suppress Palestinians. Also, there's a whole international training program that is rooted in Georgia, once again, as a way to continuously share suppression techniques. So the people who were protesting this cop city were being arrested and tried as domestic terrorists. Obviously, an extreme escalation because they're just protesters. Then they charged activists and people who worked for a Solidarity Bail Fund who bailed out protesters on RICO charges. Then the state of Georgia passes a bill that not only expands the list of crimes that are eligible for cash bail, but also makes it so that bail funds are obsolete. So Georgia does all of this and makes it incredibly easy to arrest protesters and keep them jailed for an indefinite amount of time. And this blueprint is being copied across.
I don't care how long he works and I don't care what he does. There is no job worth $2 million a year. That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it. But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection of the society in which that exists.
So you watched The Hunger Games and you sided with the resistance. You watched Star Wars and you sided with the resistance. You watched The Matrix and you understood and sided with the resistance. You watched the movie Divergent and you sided with the resistance. You watched V for Vendetta and you cheered on the resistance. When it's fiction, you understand and you side with the resistance. Yet when it's happening to you in real life, right now, in the news, in the world, right now, you refuse to see it when it's the reality that you are living in. You're afraid to resist in real life. Blows my mind.
So what are we looking at here? These are ALPRs, automatic license plate readers. These are high-speed computer-controlled camera systems. They're typically mounted on street poles, street lights, highway overpasses, mobile trailers, or attached to a squad car. ALPRs are automatically able to capture license plate numbers that come into the view, along with location, date, time, and the data, which includes photographs of the vehicle and sometimes its driver and passengers. This is uploaded into a central server system. And this information can be collected and used by police to find out where a plate has been in the past, to determine whether a vehicle is at a scene of a crime potentially, or to identify travel patterns, or even to discover vehicles that may be associated with each other, such as a wife and a husband, if they're looking for a criminal. Law enforcement agencies can choose to share their information with thousands of other agencies simply by continuing to share it on that server. Taken into the aggregate, the ALPR data can paint an intimate portrait of a driver's life and even chill First Amendment protected activity. I'm sure that's going to be challenged. However, at this time it is. ALPR technology can be used to target drivers who visit sensitive places such as healthcare centers, immigration clinics, gun shops.
Now, in a desperate attempt to fill 24 hours of programming, here's some bullshit that happened somewhere today. We've got some footage here of the bullshit, which began just after 3 o'clock this afternoon, when residents in this neighborhood were shocked to see this fairly common thing happening. An attractive witness described the event in breathless terms.
I went to my window and I was like, whoa, there's some bullshit happening.
That happened right over there. I'm an older man, so you can trust what I say.
Authorities in special uniforms rushed to the scene to stand around while our cameras filmed them. Our reporter Keith Collins joins us now live from the scene of the bullshit through the use of expensive technology. Good to be with you again, Keith. We have a colorful graphic here that shows instances of bullshit like this are on the rise. Is that right?
Yes, although why is unclear. Some say it's because of one fucking reason. Others say it's because of some other fucking reason. I talked to this random expert on the subject who told me this thing you're about to hear him say right after he points at a piece of paper.
I spent mine.
I am the Omega. DJ Lane Rolling Gang SIE. Don't you address me unless it with 4 letters. Bitch, I thought you known better. I've been ducking.
Why can't you specifically say, hey, this is what I want to do for black people?
Because they cowards. You know, I talked about this in my poem because, you know, I kind of think I'm halfway rapper. But I talked about this in my poem in 2014. When it comes to the national stage, they cowards. They always talking behind the scenes. See, you don't have to like Trump, but you got to respect this gangster. He's running the president of the United States like Death Row Records. He don't give a damn what you like and who like whatever. He's there for his people. If we had somebody that focused on us that way, we would get a whole lot of shit done. When has the government ever shut down for black folks? It was about, and we can say, oh, it's black immigrants and Haitian immigrants and African immigrants, but that's not who they're talking about. They're talking about the southern border, just like last year when the Democrats shut it down over DACA. We have yet to have anybody that has pushed our issue. When you look at Northam, Governor Northam right now, when everybody's so confused about the racism, he refused to have Justin Fairfax's picture on his brochure. So what the hell are we confused about? It was a big story saying he doesn't want to deal with black folks. But now all of a sudden we're confused. He's racist. No, you got caught. Democrats have always let this bullshit slide to say, oh, well, we got to do that. You know, we got to do that in order to get the white vote, including Barack Obama. Oh, well, you know, he can't do that because they're not going to let him do it. Wait till the second term. He really going to come out in the second term. No disrespect to him. I'm proud of him. But he didn't come from where I came from. I came from North Highlands. He came from Hawaii. Two different perspectives, two different lenses. So there's never a black agenda, and we allow it to be so because we allow these bullshit excuses to say, oh, well, they won't let you do it when 90% of black folks vote Democrat.
Covert weapons, aren't they? That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things.
And you guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Goldman, for his round of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Mr. Grozev, I want to follow up a little bit on the interactions you've had with Russian intelligence about these AHIs. And Mr. Zaid, I want to ask, and this is a hypothetical, but I'm trying to understand.
Now listen, I'm going to tell you this before you go to bed so you can sleep on it and it can marinate. God has you in your creative season and you've been missing in action, MIA. And you got some people that's calling to check up on you. And everybody that calls to check up on you ain't really calling to check up on you. They just want to see what you got going on. And there you go, talking, telling them what you got cooking and shaking. And some of them people is monitoring spirits. And then after you tell them, you try to figure out why it ain't cooking and shaking. You too talkative. You got to learn to shut your mouth and cover it. Cover it until it comes to pass. And then you ain't gonna have to tell them nothing. 'Cause they gonna see it. All right then, I'm gone.
The reason why you cannot get the masses of the people is this. Your consciousness starts down here in the genitals. And most people is walking around, consciousness is down here. So whenever they hear stuff on a higher level, it comes down here and it bounces off. They can't get it. Comes in, it bounces off, they can't get it. Comes in, it bounces off, they can't get it. But they can get ignorant shit. They can get idiotic stuff all day long. I'm sorry to give you a bath, sister. They can get idiotic, they can get foolishness all day long. That's because their consciousness is in the genitals. You cannot get this stuff, and the reason why you are in here, and you can only get this when you're radiating at the heart chakra. That's why you ever heard your heart ain't in it. So this stuff don't even stick until it gets here. Anything below this, it bounces off. The reason why you get this, the reason why you are in here on a Saturday night, you see what I'm saying? Just longing for this kind of information, eating it up, just loving it, is because you came on the earth, opened up to the heart chakra. And this stuff can stick to you. Now you got some people up in here, they're radiating at the root chakra. So therefore they can only get religion. They can only get the stuff that they was taught when they was a child.
Many Native American peoples believe that their ancestors originated in a joyous subterranean realm. Specifically, the Cherokee Indians speak of a subterranean world much like our own, with mountains, trees, rivers, and people. The Aztecs hold that their ancestors came from a land called Aztlan, and that after escaping its destruction, they ended up in a cavern called Chico-Maztac, or the 7 cavern cities of gold, where they lived before emerging to the surface world. Much like the different continents of theosophy, the Hopis believe that there have been a succession of 4 worlds. Some chosen people were saved from the disasters that destroyed the first 2 worlds by taking refuge underground, and some survived the destruction of the Third World by being sealed inside hollow reeds. The Pima Indians speak of the emergence into our world being effected through a spiral hole that was bored up to the Earth's surface. And legends of origins in subterranean lands are also found in Africa and Australia. The Aboriginals believe their ancestors came up out of the ground, traveled about the country and created new tribes, then ultimately journeyed away beyond the confines of their territory or went down into the ground again. According to the native traditions of the Caroline Islands, Papua New Guinea, and Malaysia, a subterranean race of giants went underground in ancient times. These giants, once inhabitants of the lost continent of Chamat, will one day emerge and remake the world. Tribes in Bengal and Burma hold these similar beliefs as well.
Israel has huge influence in influencing what the Wall Street Journal, what the New York Times, what the Washington Post says. But TikTok is a nightmare for Israel. It's an utter nightmare. There's this famous conversation that you can get on the internet of Jonathan Greenblatt, who is the head of the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL. He's Abe Foxman's successor. He's on the phone talking to somebody, and it's, there's a video of it, and he's talking about TikTok. And it's just a disaster for Israel. People see what's happening. And the Israelis, this is really quite remarkable. The Israelis are filming themselves doing absolutely horrible things to the Palestinians and then putting it on the internet. It's just hard to believe. And furthermore, just on the whole genocide story, if you want to make the case that Israel is guilty of genocide, you have to do two things. You have to provide evidence of intent, number one, and you have to provide evidence that Israel's actions are consistent with the intent. Now, with regard to intent, the Israeli leaders across the board, including Benjamin Netanyahu, after October 7th, said all sorts of things that, in my opinion, demonstrated genocidal intent.
This was documented in the South African case.
Yes, documented in the South African case. And by the way, there was a piece in Haaretz, which is like the New York Times of Israel.
It's a left-leaning Israeli publication?
Yeah, liberal. I'd use the word liberal.
American liberal.
Yeah, American liberal. But anyway, there was a piece in Haaretz, and the headline of the piece in Haaretz said, "The road to The Hague," this is the International Court of Justice decision on whether there's potentially genocide. The Haaretz piece said, "The road to The Hague," this is the headline, "The road to The Hague is paved with public comments by Israeli leaders." Which is exactly right. You just sort of say to yourself, are they really saying these things? Right? And then again, you have all these videos. And I was talking to my daughter one day who's not very political at all. She's in her 40s, and she was talking about watching what the Israelis are doing to children on TikTok. And she said, I can't watch TikTok. I just can't watch these videos anymore. They're so horrible, right? This is a disaster for Israel. It's a public relations disaster.
These secret societies, what I found was really astounding. They're nothing new. They track back through older secret societies. They go back in through Illuminized Freemasonry, back to the Knights Templars, back through the Cathars, back through the Rosicrucians, go all the way back to the ancient mystery schools of Greece and Egypt. And even those schools did not spring in whole cloth into existence. They are remnants of the older secret societies in the world, which date all the way back to the ancient Sumerian civilization. And they left behind clay tablets still in existence, which basically state that they were the product of a colonization by people from space. Over a period of 30, 35 years, I have studied, read, talked, experienced, and I want to tell you they're real, they're here, and yes, within the inner core elite, they definitely have power. These people run the major banks, major insurance companies. Now, we don't really stop and think about these folks or these organizations, but they exert a tremendous impact on the lives of every single individual. Probably the premier secret society is the Bilderbergs. They're so secretive they don't even have a name. They're called the Bilderbergs because they were discovered meeting first in the early 50s in the Bilderberg Hotel over in Holland. They were being headed by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, who was a former SS officer.
First of all, Judaism is made up of at least 7 different ancient Semitic cults, about 7 different ones. And they all came together, and today we call them all together Judaism. But actually, Judaism is nothing more than about 7 different Semitic cults. One was called the solar cult, or the worshippers of the sun. One was the lunar cult, the worshippers of the moon. One of the cults was the stellar cult, worshippers of the star. One was the Saturnalian, or the worship of the planet Saturn. And then there was one that was called the volcano cult, the worship of the volcano. There were many others, but those were the major ones. And all of them came together one day and became known as Judaism. And out of Judaism came Old Testament and eventually Christianity. But there's a lot of history in both the Old Testament and Judaism has not been told. I'll show you some of it today. Again, our laws in this country that we're supposedly living under a law is based on the old Judaic law.
The reason why we on earth today, you, me, him, her, all these different walks of life, it's all a test. It's almost like an experiment, God's experiment. When are we gonna understand that we are put on earth to love? That's all it's about. Everybody want to figure out how complicated life is and break it down. This is what I truly think. I really think that it's going to keep going on. War going to keep going on. Frustration going to keep going on. Anger going to keep going on till we finally go back down to the simplest word, love. And when God sees that, then we have the answer.
Prince Philip, who is the father of King Charles III, once said, and I quote, "In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute something to solving overpopulation." The King Charles III portrait is an image of the British monarch seemingly enveloped in blood with a butterfly on his shoulder. In the West, the butterfly is a symbol of rebirth and transformation. Into what is for your intuition to decide after this video. Jonathan Yeo started working on the portrait 3 months after King Charles III's dad, Prince Philip, was announced dead on April 9, 2021 at the age of 99. I See 999, and Jimi Hendrix recorded the song If 6 Was 9 at Olympic Studio in London in the year 1967. Yeah, I'm reaching, but it was written that Ethiopia shall stretch forth its hands unto God. And reach can lead to a valuable acquisition, and we value understanding. Austrian occultist Rudolf Steiner wrote a book in 1912 called The Occult Significance of Blood. In it, Steiner says that we carry the occult powers and desires of our forefathers in our blood. Your ancestors live on inside of you when you resonate with who they were. One of the reasons why royals are generally very selective about who they make babies with is the fact that they don't want to lose whatever spirits have been encoded into their blood to keep them in power. What if that spirit can be identified by an empirical scientist as a virus?
There have been many pictures and videos that have came to light recently from Anlong County in China that shows clearly many dozens, if not more, pyramids hidden amongst the hillsides. Now the experts are saying these are no more than parallel layers of stones. They all just happen to look like pyramids. But it's pretty clear it's just one more in a growing list of reasons why we don't trust the experts anymore. And these certainly weren't the first pyramids uncovered in China. Here's a photo in 1945 from U.S. Airman James Gossman, and it was absolutely massive in size, dwarfing the pyramids in Egypt. You can pause to read more of his experience. In fact, there's been dozens, if not hundreds, of photos and reports of hidden pyramids scattered all throughout China. While government officials refuse access to investigate any of these sites, In fact, goes to great lengths to cover them back up, plant trees on top of them, and block off any access from the public. But even on the controlled Google Earth, you can still find many of them to this day. But it's no surprise they want to keep these hidden. These realm-wide pyramids show once again, history is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
My resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Gratitude, 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 family. This is your brother Yosef. And I would like to invite you to my new lecture titled Cyber Sorcery. This is going to be a great event, family. We're going to talk about cyber sorcery. We're going to talk about how you can do some spiritual things with technology, family. Come on down. There's going to be some great information. The event will take place at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, October 11th at 1 p.m. Central in Houston, Texas. All right. The address is 5309 Martin Luther King Boulevard, Houston, Texas, family. All right. Now we're also going to have a special guest, Brother Divine Waters. All right. Who's going to be dropping some information on healing. All right. Get your tickets today, family, at newlifetools.org.
Actually, yes, there are. There's actually a full-blown website that you can use to locate them so you see where they are. You can select all these different types. You can even click surely just to be 100% positive of where they are in the United States, and it gives you this map. Now, apparently the little flags are special towns of interest. That's a new feature I was unaware of. If you click on one of them, it'll actually take you through some of the information, not just the place, but some statistic data by the Census Bureau. You can check all of these and more on their website. But yes, they are very much still in effect. It even gives you extra information. So it's not just a thing of the past. Sundown towns are still very much active, still very much in existence. As you saw in that video, they're all across the country still. That was just a website that I happened to stumble across that showed some of the information, so I figured I would share it. I'll also write it down here in the description, that way anybody who's interested can take a look. Some of my other comments are truck drivers who actually said that they had to search that website in order to find out if they could stop along their work routes, actively currently.
Lord help us, just listen to this.
When I was an extremist, Islamist, fundamentalist, I would only vote left.
Why is that?
I saw them as very stupid. I would fear the conservatives because they come with principle. That's not someone they can brainwash. But the left, I know they have no values and no principles to begin with. I dare you to find one Islamic extremist that votes for Donald Trump. Never do it. They'd give their vote to the leftist who wants to run around in pride parades. And Islamic extremists are against gays and homosexuals and transgenders, but they want the left to go and get busy with that. And Omar, she's fighting for abortion rights. My body, my choice. Yes, go do that, go do it. But would she have an abortion? Never. Would she kill a Muslim in her stomach? Never.
What is the fundamentalist and jihadi agenda for America?
The future of America has to be Muslim.
Lord help us.
They built the largest U.S. embassy in the Western Hemisphere in Haiti, and it is the fourth largest U.S. embassy in the world. While they're telling you we have no resources, okay? But another thing, Haiti has an extraterrestrial material that is found nowhere else in the world except South Africa, and it's the purest in Haiti. We have an asteroid mountain in different places. We have mountains, they're made of asteroid. They use this asteroid because it's the remain of this asteroid that is so heat resistant that they use for spacecrafts. 1 ton of Haiti's iridium.
Iridium. I wanted to get to
Iridium
that.
is worth $45 billion. We have mountains of it. So what the UN occupation is that they put soldiers and private military contractors in UN uniforms. They're everywhere in Haiti, digging out the mountains.
Look up Barbary treaties and understand what's really going on with the peace and friendship treaties. In the Barbary treaties, you gotta understand, these were treaties between the United States of America and Morocco, Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, and that's when the peace and friendship treaty comes into effect as well around the same time. Why was the United States begging for a treaty? Why they need peace and friendship? Well, because when Morocco was seizing their ports and their ships, it was breaking them. They didn't have money. They weren't bringing in any funds. And what was on those ships was slaves. But they want you to think they was melanated slaves. I don't want to hear another melanated person talking about they are descendant of the slave. Unless you mix with Albion, you gotta understand what the term slave means. The original slaves were Albion people. They were not melanated. The term comes from Albion people. Slavic or Slovakian, look it up. So the term slave comes from a group of Albion or light-skinned people, not melanated people. This is what I tell y'all, these words get switched up and y'all get caught up in a word and you legally are damning yourself every time you say it, all right? So the term slave comes from Slavic or Slovakian, which are Albion people.